Some people are just born to be horrible. I, Skylar, had the misfortune of knowing someone like that. It was none other than my own mother-in-law, Harriet. That's right, even though I found the most caring and the sweetest husband in the world, his mother was another story entirely. In fact, she was the only one from his family who was so awful to me. No one else hated me that much. Slowly as I got to know her, I realized that she basically hated everyone. She's what you would call a complete narcissist who had no regard for anyone else. The horror stories I have heard from my husband Darren and sister-in-law Daisy have put things into perspective. They said,
"Mum doesn't hate you, Skylar. She's that way with everyone. Growing up, she was extremely strict with us as well."
"Don't put it mildly, Darren. She was downright abusive to us. She was extremely controlling and made us do all the house chores. If we made one mistake, we were starved for an entire day. It's not like she cooked anything anyways. It was Darren who cooked for us." "Oh my God. Is that true, Darren? Why didn't you guys get help from your extended family? I'm sure they would have done something."
"It wasn't that easy. Skylar, everyone knew, but when they tried to protest, Mum threatened to take us and move us somewhere else. She always said that it was her house and her rules. Everyone was scared she would actually take us away and put us in a worse situation."
"This is insane. Why haven't you guys gone no contact with her?" "I have gone no contact with Mum. I've had enough of her controlling ways. Darren is the one who refused to do anything about this."
"I can't, Skylar. She's still my mum and needs my help. She's already complaining that I've stopped giving her money."
Did I mention that this was another reason why Harriet hated me so much? Darren was wrong about one thing. Harriet did hate me. It was specifically because I was the one who told him to stop giving her money. When I started dating Darren, he told me that he lived with his mum. When I asked him about their rental agreement, I was shocked. Turns out Darren was paying a ridiculous amount of money as rent and utilities. Because he spent so much on his mum, he barely had some savings left. So the first thing I did after we got engaged was to make him move out. I knew that at this rate getting a house together would be impossible. Harriet, of course, didn't like this one bit. Not only did she stop receiving easy money, but also lost someone who could be controlled. Like I said, Daisy was already no contact with her at that point and never gave Harriet the chance to control her life again. While Darren was relieved to be out of Harriet's clutches, he still felt guilty for leaving her behind. His father had no relationship with him, and Daisy, so it's always been the three of them. We got married and moved into my house after coming back from the honeymoon. He was slowly saving money so that we could finally get a place together. Till then, we were going to live in the house I inherited from my grandma. While we were happy with our new family, Darren did have some lingering doubts about leaving Harriet. He said,
"You know, sometimes I still feel guilty for leaving Mum."
"You didn't abandon her, Darren. You are a grown man with a new family. It's natural you would want to move out. And frankly speaking, your mother has been pretty abusive towards you."
"I know, Skylar. To be honest, I feel pretty relieved to be away from her. I always knew she was pretty neglectful and abusive, but she is still my mum. I feel bad."
"You are sending her enough money to support herself. Plus, she never needed your company to stay happy. She only wanted to make you and Daisy work for her." Darren knew that I was right, so he stopped arguing and changed the topic. At that moment, I had alarm bells going off in my head. It had been only a few months since we moved into our house, and he was already having second thoughts. I could see that he was being ridiculous, but also knew that his mum had been guilting him for a while. When I spoke to Daisy about this, she said, "You need to be careful, Skylar. I always knew it would be difficult for Darren to cut off Mum. He never had a good support system around him. Now that you are here, I really need you to help him." "I do want to help him, Daisy. He's such a great man and I love him. I only want the best for him. Sometimes I question myself if it is right to separate him from Harriet. I wish you could see just how much happier Darren is now. He's super lucky to have you, but beware. Mum will try to mess up your family. You need to be strong for yourself and Darren." "You think Harriet will do something? Is she that bad?" "She is even worse than you can imagine. I have been hearing some gossip about her taking back control, so I thought I would warn you about it. Don't let her sink her claws into your happy family." "I'll keep that in mind, Daisy. Thank you for being such a good support." Daisy was always the rational one in the family, so I valued her words a lot. I knew Darren was happier now, and he always told me that. However, Harriet's manipulative tactics were starting to work on him again, and after 1 month, I found out that I was right. Harriet did sink her claws into Darren again. Well, it so happened that we got a frantic call from Harriet. Darren picked the call and put it on speaker. Harriet said, "Darren, you need to do something. I'm about to be homeless. My landlord is going to kick me out soon. I only have 5 days left."
Mum, what are you talking about? Why is the landlord kicking you out? This is insane.
I couldn't pay the rent for last month, so the landlord said he wouldn't house me anymore. He gave me a 1-month notice, but I thought he was bluffing.
Why didn't you pay rent? I've been sending you money every month to cover some of your expenses.
I know, but I had to use that money for some medical issues. I had no other way. There was no one in the house to help me, so I had to fend for myself. Now I'm going to be homeless.
No, Mum, you won't be homeless. We can take you in. It will only be for a few days until you can get back on your feet.
Really? You would do that? I promise to get a job soon so that doesn't happen again. I'll be out of your hair soon.
I was pretty shocked that Darren offered her a room without consulting with me. However, he immediately apologized and begged me to consider her situation. I was pretty skeptical about her living in my house. In the end, I said yes because I didn't want to hurt Darren. He was already feeling guilty for not being with Harriet. So, to my ultimate misfortune, Harriet moved in with us in 2 days. Apparently the landlord was mean and she needed to get out as soon as possible. However, things became very stressful for me and Darren. From the very beginning, Harriet started to criticize our life and house. She wanted to change the decorations, carpeting, and even demanded the master bedroom. She said,
"You guys have such bad taste. I cannot live in a house like this. You need to change the decorations completely. And, Skylar, you should be making my meals with high-quality ingredients. Don't give the trash you two eat."
The trash you are referring to is actually basic food. If we buy your preferred ingredients, we will be depleting 50% of our money on food alone.
Well, then you should work hard and get a job. That way you would be able to care for me better. You are delusional if you think I live to please you. You have a hand and can make your food yourself. Get a job and then get your fancy food. How dare you insult me in my son's house? I'm the head of the family and you will listen to me. Don't try to be smart.
I felt pretty insulted and infuriated by what she said. She was constantly getting on my nerves and criticizing me. I also found that she was sneaking into my room to take small trinkets and gifts that Darren gave me. At first, I thought I had misplaced them. However, I soon realized that it was she who was taking my things. I kept quiet because I didn't want to confront her and hurt Darren's feelings. However, I was at the end of my wits. The situation became worse only a month after she moved in. One day when I was making lunch, Harriet walked into the kitchen and handed me a booklet. I was pretty confused by what she was giving me. That's when Harriet told me to read it. The booklet has a set of obnoxious rules that reminded me about stories Daisy and Darren told me about. That's when I realized what it was. I kid you not, Harriet actually presented me with a book. That's right, this woman took the time to type out a 20-page book and print it out for me. It contained a variety of rules about how I should take care of the house and serve her needs at the same time. I actually read the entire book because I couldn't believe the frickin' audacity of the woman. I highly expected and prayed to see a "You have been pranked" sign in the end. However, the punchline never came. This crazy woman was actually very serious about those ridiculous rules. I said, "This better be a joke, Harriet. I'm sick and tired of your antics. It's not even funny anymore. Not like you have any sense of humor."
Who said I'm joking with you? I don't waste my time doing stupid things. This rule book is just to make your and my life easier.
How do you think this will make my life easier?
Well, you will be able to manage the house the right way. Plus, you won't have to be afraid of disappointing me. You have done that enough already.
Lady, even after everything, you think I will actually try to appease you? Are you freaking insane?
No, I am not insane. I deserve to feel at home in my house. Plus, I like things done a certain way. The right way, actually. I'm trying to teach you that.
Listen here, Harriet. I will make this very clear to you. This is my house. I have allowed you to stay here because you lost your house. Unless you manage to buy half of the house from me, there is no way I will follow your rules. In my house, there is only one rule book. The rule is, it's my way or the highway.
How dare you? This is my son's house. I deserve to have a say in what happens around here. Oh, hell no. This house is solely in my name, and you know what? I've decided that you're no longer welcome here. You better pack your bag soon. Harriet looked pretty shocked by what I said. I think she never thought that I would stand up against her. She's used to bullying people into following her bizarre rules and demands. For the first time in her life, someone decided to say no and put an end to her entitlement. Harriet said, I've never met anyone so rude and evil like you! I'm homeless and you are kicking me out of my own son's house? This is unacceptable!
Again, Harriet. This house is mine, and only mine, in my name. Darren invited you here because he took pity on you. Just because he invited you here doesn't mean this house automatically becomes yours.
I have a right to be here. I will tell Darren you are trying to kick me out. He will teach you a nice lesson. After that, I will have the last laugh. I knew if I stopped paying rent, I will become homeless and my son will take me in. See, Skylar, he did just that. Now it's time I kick you out and take your place in this house.
That was a great plan, Harriet. Unfortunately for you, Darren is already sick and tired of you as well. Telling him will only work in my favour. Oh, by the way, we have cameras in all areas except the bedroom, so we know exactly what you have been up to for so long. Plus, you clearly accepted the fact that you purposefully became homeless so that we could take you in.
What? No, that is not true. You are lying to scare me. Guess what? I won't budge. Do what you want to do. I am staying right here.
I knew there was no point in arguing with Harriet. Instead, I sent a quick text to Darren and explained the situation. In the beginning, he was refusing to believe Harriet would do something like this. That's when I finally showed him all the proof I had collected over the weeks. I also showed him pictures of Harriet's 20-page rulebook that she gave me. Darren went super quiet and told me that he would come home soon. So I simply waited for him to come and deal with his mother. I knew she was capable of pulling some insane tantrums. To protect myself, I also had the police on speed dial in case we needed them to kick her out. Harriet never saw what was coming. I told her that Darren and I will have a sit-down with her. That actually made her smirk at me. She was extremely confident that Darren would take her side and kick me out. When Darren finally came home, Harriet immediately went up to him and cried. She said,
Darren, thank God you came home early. Your wife here is trying to kick me out. She's saying that I don't deserve to be in this house. She wants me to become homeless. Darren.
Mom, calm down. There is a lot we need to talk about. We cannot have a decent conversation if you keep crying like this.
But I am extremely hurt, Darren. I really thought I would feel welcome in your house, but Skylar is making me feel like an outsider. I never complained about her behavior, but she threatened to kick me out today.
I threatened to kick you out because you expect me to follow your rules in my house. That is simply ridiculous.
She is lying, Darren. I just wanted to teach her some tricks on how to manage the house better. You know I'm good at these things. Why don't you tell her how helpful those rules will be?
Stop it, Mum. I've read all the stupid rules you've written in that book. All it said was that me and Skylar should work our butt off to give you comfort. You expected her to cook and clean for you while you freeload on us.
That is not true. She's the housewife and needs to do the work. That's how it's always been.
No, Mum, that's not how you handled things. You basically made me and Sis do all the chores and cooking when we hit 10. I remember everything very clearly. Why do you think Daisy never offered to take you in?
This is nonsense, Darren. I know Skylar is filling your head with bullshit. You've forgotten everything I have done for you.
No, Mum, I haven't forgotten all the abuse and manipulation that you have put me through. It was my mistake to fall for your evil plans. I know you intentionally became homeless so that you could live in this house.
No, that's not true. Skylar is making things up. You have to believe me. I really have nowhere to go. You can ask my previous landlord if I have terminated my lease intentionally.
I know you didn't have money trouble. I know you simply refused to pay the rent. Skylar told me. We have cameras in the house. I heard everything. I want you to leave the house by tomorrow. I stand by Skylar's decision.
No, please, Darren.
Darren never paid any heed to what Harriet said. After years of normalizing the abuse, he refused to be her servant anymore. I was actually feeling proud of him. He finally made a stand for himself. Harriet went on and on about she would actually become homeless. Darren simply said that he didn't care. We gave Harriet one night to pack up and leave. Even with everything, I didn't want to kick her out late at night. She may be a monster, but I am not. I don't need to stoop to her level to get my revenge. That night, I also posted the videos of her confession to all the extended family we knew. Harriet needed to be boycotted from the family entirely. She has messed with the wrong person. It was time I taught her a good lesson. All the people who heard the recordings were appalled by her evil plans. Many of them decided to cut her off completely. No one was willing to house her after this fiasco. Harriet came crying to us that what we did was unfair. We simply said tough luck and ignored her. The next day, Harriet begged us to not kick her out. We showed her no mercy. She didn't deserve any after what she tried to pull. Suddenly she started to destroy all the pots in our garden and call us names. Even the neighbours were starting to see what the issue was. We again threatened to call the police if she didn't leave soon.
That made her scared, and she took the suitcases and left in her car. I again sent the recordings of her little tantrum to everyone on the family group chat. To no one's surprise, that made them even more disgusted with Harriet. As the days passed, Harriet's calls became frantic. She was also calling up every other family member and demanded to be housed. Everyone promptly told her to go away and blocked her number. She even showed up back at our house and begged us for help. Harriet said that she was running out of money and didn't want to work. Darren was downright cold to her, while I simply didn't care. I would have almost pitied her if she wasn't so evil. Anyway, we shut the door in her face. From what we heard so far, Harriet is working at Walmart and is making very little income. She's yet to find a rented apartment due to her bad track record. Daisy has refused to contact her in any way, and so has Darren. Meanwhile, I'm pretty happy with my family and living peacefully at my house. There is no evil mother-in-law lurking around, and I can finally be myself in my own home.